I'm Tardine Dafferlin, and thanks for watching Sun TV News. The ruling Progressive National Party held a press conference at the Opus restaurant in Grace Bay on Monday, July 4th. And although Premier Honorable Dr. Rufus Ewing said it was not the official launch of the party's election campaign, there was every indication that the PNP is definitely in campaign mode. Most of the cabinet ministers, several prospective candidates, a number of party executives, and scores of PNP supporters turned up for the event, which the party said was to officially outline the candidates' selection process. But the press conference turned out to be more than that. One of the most controversial aspects of the press conference centered around former Premier Michael Misick, who is now running as an independent candidate instead of at large for the PNP. In his opening remarks, PNP Chairman Royal Robinson listed Misick as one of the 9 PNP candidates who are vying to fill 3 at-large spots. However, when he was questioned further about Misick's candidacy, Robinson started reading from a prepared script in which, among other things, he accused Misick of destroying the PNP party and said that some people were following him blindly.
Mr. Misick's application is still with the Progressive National Party. That is a fact. But I can say this, that as chairman of this great party, I will not sit and be mum to see someone hell-bent on destroying the very fabric of this party for his or her own personal gain. It is no secret that the former Premier, Honorable Michael Misick, has been a very popular and charismatic leader of the party. It is therefore right on his part, and those that are following blindly behind him, is it right, therefore, for him to destroy the very same party that he says he espouses to love? Our party at its recent convention adopted and approved its new constitution. It has rules and placed obligation on its members. To not follow those rules as set down can result in disciplinary action taken against the individual or individuals that offend the party's constitution. We have recently embarked on a process, as I outlined early on, to find the makeup of the 15 persons for our slate of candidates. Mr. Misick was the candidate who submitted his name first to be admitted as a candidate for North and Middle Caicos, but he withdrew that and submitted his application to be considered for one of the all-island spots. All requests for consideration had to be under the chairman or secretary before the 3rd of June 2016. All persons that submitted their names by the date were required to complete the 2 pledges by or before June 8th. If the pledges were not completed, then the name would not go forward for further consideration. When I published the list on 17th of June, Mr. Misick and another candidate were not on the list because no pledges were received by them or from them. Mr. Misick claimed that he was not received the requested pledges, and so I provided him with the pledges. And I told him that once he's completed those pledges, that information would be sent to the NEC at his next meeting, and then he would be listed or considered to be listed. By email at 10:58 a.m. on the 25th of June, captioned Progressive National Party criteria for selection of all island candidates was sent out to all persons, including Mr. Misick, by the secretary. At 7:40 p.m. on the 25th of June, Mr. Misick wrote by returning mail on the same caption to the secretary these words, and I quote verbatim: "I have not received confirmation that my name is on the list for consideration as a candidate at large. I did sign the pledge and was informed by the chairman that my pledge was late. This is to inform you that I would like my name to be removed from any consideration as a candidate. I want to confirm that I am a PNP, however, due to the fact that it seems that I am not welcome to be considered, I have decided to offer myself as an independent PNP at large. I will always have the country and the PNP at heart. Sincerely, Michael Misick. To that I responded on the 27th of June at about 8:31 a.m. as chairman of this party. I have now had sight of your correspondence. And all I can say to you is that what you have said with respect to not being included is not true. So his name was included because he got the correspondence saying that his name was included. So for him to now say that he is not included was not true in any material way.
While Robinson was reading the statement, the facial expressions of some of the PNP cabinet ministers changed. They started messaging each other, and then Deputy Premier Akira Misick was seen scribbling a note which she passed to Premier Ewing. When Sun publisher Hayden Boyce asked Robinson to elaborate on how he felt Michael Misick was destroying the PNP, Premier Ewing quickly grabbed the microphone and did not allow the PNP chairman to answer the question. It was clear that the Premier wanted to shut down the Michael Misick issue, which is causing some tension in the PNP.
In what way would you say that he was destroying the party?
Good morning, everyone. This press conference is about the PNP selecting the slate of PNP candidates and describing what is PNP. This press conference is not about Michael Eugene Misick.
Yeah,
All right. Just to answer you.
Mr. Premier, you are the former speaker.
Yeah.
We have a right as journalists to
Right. No, I'm going to answer your question, but I'm just leading it. This press conference is not about Michael Eugene Misick, but what the Honorable Chairman has said, stated, Royal has stated, was that Honorable Misick put an application to the party. He was taking it through the process. He decided to withdraw his application and to run as an independent. Everyone has a democratic right in this country to put forward their name to run on any ticket, PNP, PDM, or otherwise. And so, and that is what he did, exercise his right. If he said he's a PNP, then so be it, he's still a PNP. But what I don't want persons to get confused about was that he is not running on the PNP ticket. He's running as an independent candidate, and he's not running on the PNP ticket. So the PNP will be fielding 5 members at large as part of the PNP ticket. And that is all we're saying here to that. I'm not going to get into anything about how he has, about destruction or anything like that. So
When the press conference was announced to the public last Sunday and early Monday, some people speculated that the Premier was going to call elections. However, this was very unlikely because the PNP has not yet announced its full slate of candidates. When asked how late he can call elections, which were last held in November 2012, here's what the Premier said.
the elections can go as late as 90 days post the time when it's constitutionally due. It's constitutionally due on the date of the first sitting of the House of Assembly. 1 year it is due. It's constitutionally due.
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years after the first sitting of the House of Assembly.
Premier Ewing was also asked to state his position about the Turks and Caicos Islands going independent.
The Turks and Caicos Islands, each and every one of us here should aspire to have greater autonomy in the way we manage our affairs. And my view is that we should continue to seek for greater autonomy in the management of our affairs. When that time comes, as is outlined, if you look at our manifesto, and I've slated a number of things in our manifesto that will signal and trigger when it's the right, and the people are the ones who will tell you, and people will signal to you when they think it's right for us to go through independence via referendum. And you, as a government, have to be sure that when you're gonna test the people, you have to be sure that you can win that test. Cameron will tell you. So it's nothing to take lightly. It's nothing to just jump to. Yes, we all require some education about independence, and we have to continue to speak about independence without getting nervous about it. But we haven't been able to do so in this country, because the minute you begin to speak about independence, there are some fearmongers who make people believe that you're going to go independent tomorrow, and that a government could push you to independence and push it down your throat. No government could make this country independent without you, the people, deciding that you want to go independent. No government. The power is with you, not me. I can say I want to go independent all I like, but you can tell me, all right, that's what you want. Let me show you. So it's up to the people.
Are you prepared to run a referendum?
No, I'm not prepared to run a referendum.
The PNP leader said his government has every right to expect and hope that they will be returned to power when the elections are called. To support his view, he outlined a number of his government's achievements and future plans.
This government, in preparing for this upcoming election, I can say that we have every right to expect and hope that the individuals or the electorate in this country should return the Progressive National Party back to government on election day. This government has done a marvelous and awesome job giving the odds that it had worked under over the past 3 years. I've said time and time again that we were faced with the most adverse conditions. The finances of this country was in a state of austerity that when we came, I can use the local term, yes, the treasury was broke. We hardly could have paid salaries. But this government came to office with a mission, and the first mission to restore the economy back to where it was, that we can then begin to work in earnest for the people in providing them with the necessary resources, social services, infrastructure that we are now delivering on. And most of you would recognize that even from day one, even though we were broke, this government starting to deliver on its mandate from day one. Education was our second priority. And from day one, we began rebuilding things that were demolished, such as the Una Glinton Primary School. We put millions of dollars in rebuilding the Una Glinton Primary School. We continue to build on education and rebuilding the HJ administration block. That block has been destroyed by fire. And we're now again rebuilding it again during this term in office. The first time in this country's history over the past 25 years that any government have ever invested in a high school, a secondary school here in Providenciales. And this government, because education was important to us, spent millions of dollars in developing and building the new high school, the Long Bay High. This government, yes, we might not have had scholarships, funding as there were in previous years, when monies may have been flowing. But with the little funds that we had, we ensure that those persons who are in need of scholarships were provided with the opportunities to have educational training at tertiary level here in the Turks and Caicos Islands and also abroad. And this we continue as part of our mandate to continue to fund our scholarship programs going forward into the future. We again are on track to building one of the first primary schools to be built in these islands in several years. But in addition to that, I wouldn't mention the amount of work that we have done in maintaining those primary schools, extending them, as well as the Clement Howell High School here on Providenciales. Again, we are about to spend significant funding with the expansion of the Eliza Simons Primary School in Grand Turk. We have delivered on the things that we said that we're going to deliver on in the area of education. In this government, when the time comes in running, we will run on our record according to our manifesto that we have laid out our plans for to you, the people. We also came into office with the vision of dealing with healthcare. And in dealing with healthcare, our focus, according to our manifesto, was ensuring that we can have a strengthened and strong primary healthcare system from an infrastructure and a system standpoint. And I can say to you today that again, we have delivered on that promise, because we have delivered on that promise through infrastructure development and creating a new wellness center on the island of Grand Turk. We have built a new clinic on the island of Salt Key. We have reopened and completed the Middle Caicos Clinic. We are now about to break ground. We have already broken ground for the building of the clinic in Kew, North Caicos. Again, we have put in many plans in place in terms of legislation to strengthen our primary healthcare delivery system. We have restructured some of our primary healthcare programs within the hospital. And right now, most persons will see that they can go to the hospital and access government services up to 10 o'clock, up to 9, 10 o'clock in the night to relieve the waiting times in the emergency room in the hospital. We're about to continue the progress with respect to the amendment to the National Health Insurance Program, which have already been passed in Cabinet. And through that program, we will then put the legislation in place so that those persons who find that they may have difficulty getting access to health care will find that there is very little barrier to accessing health care and quality health care in this country. And yes, we're continuing to work to reduce the costs associated with delivering health care at our secondary care level and at our hospitals, and through the establishment of the Health Regulatory Authority to better regulate the quality of services that are delivered at our hospitals, and not only our hospitals, but all of our private sector and public sector clinics across these islands. So again, once again, we have delivered on our promises within our manifesto. And when it comes to infrastructure, most persons will say roads have not been done in this country in a long time. But if you were to travel throughout the length and breadth of this country, you will see. And those persons who have traveled recently in the Glass Check area, road work was already completed in the Glass Check area. Some road work was done previously in 5 Keys, and will continue that work in 5 Keys. This government have already identified and costed out over $100 million worth of road works to be done in this country over the next several years. And that's a lot of work, and we're doing all of the roads in the Turks and Caicos Islands. And so that's a program of works that this government have already established, and all we do is to continue on that program. Yes, we'll try to get as much done as possible in this term of office, but those that we have not completed in this term of office will continue, because road work development is a continuous process. It is not only a process that you see when election time comes. For us, we took the time and the proper planning to identify and cost out all of the roads that need work, and then prioritize which road needs work first, and then prioritize the funding to balance it with other areas and other sectors that needs a significant funding allocated to it as well.
The Premier said there was mixed reaction from the electorate about his government's performance over the past 4 years, and he admitted that the benefits of the growing economy did not trickle down to some people in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Of the electorate are indeed mixed from the standpoint that persons know what this government delivered on. They know what this government was able, the challenges that this government had. Some persons may say that we did not, as a government, may not have communicated the challenges to them, to their expectation. But by and large, persons can see, and many persons can feel. But there are some individuals I know might not have felt the full brunt of a restored economy. Because those things do sometimes take time to have that trickle-down effect. And you mostly feel those things when the construction sector with the major infrastructure development is booming. And that is what we have not yet had, other than, even though we had construction, lots of construction, but the major construction projects, such as the major hotel projects, so that you have a trickle-down effect, that persons can get diverse employment and employment opportunities that should be afforded to them. And so by and large, as far as I know, that there are individuals who feel that this government has done an awesome job and give them the opportunity, and there's no reason why they should not give them the opportunity, given the challenges that they had during this term in office, to continue on until next term in office.
During the press conference, it was also confirmed that the PNP officially has possession of its Airport Road headquarters again. PNP Treasurer Gordon Burton said the party reached an agreement with the Crown to pay $30,000 annual rent for the land on which the headquarters is located. He said they also agreed to pay $284,000 in back rent over a one-year period.
And this lease will also make, in the agreement, also makes provision for the party to have a freehold title to the land once the law has been changed to allow such freehold, since this negotiation started even before the law was changed in 2012. And so this is one of the legacy issues that will be addressed should that provision within the law changes later in the future. But we're happy to announce that as of June, as the first week in June of this year, we signed the lease for the Progressive National Party for 99 years. And so most of you, if you're traveling on Airport Road, you will see significant work starting to take place at the Progressive National Party's headquarters and preparing itself for a hyped and energetic campaign for this upcoming election. We feel delighted, and we thank all of those individuals who are part of this process of us getting our PNP headquarters back in the hands of the Progressive National Party. For those persons who presented obstacles in the way, as a good Christian, I'll say thank you too, because sometimes those obstacles make you stronger. And you know your enemies, and you know your friends. So I'd like to say thank you to them, those persons who have made this most rewarding exercise over the past several years.
Well, that's it for now from Sun TV. Thanks very much indeed for watching. Until next time, I'm Toddleen Dafferlin.